Hey everyone, welcome back to Helping Make Sense. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about compounding and how powerful it can be both in people's favor and how it can work against them over time. You may have heard of compounding referred to as the eighth wonder of the world, and I'd really like to dive into this to show you how it can help build your wealth, give you some examples with some real numbers, and show you how the math of it, particularly over a large amount of time, can be both powerful in ways that help you and in ways that hold you back from achieving financial freedom. So what is compounding? Compounding is what happens when you earn returns on your money, and then that money that you earned makes money, and so on and so on. It's basically growth on top of more growth. Let's take a quick look at an example. In this example, let's say that someone invests $10,000 that makes 8% per year over 30 years. By the time the 30 years is up, that $10,000 will have become $100,000 plus with no additional contributions. Notice how the farther to the right you go in the graph, right, the closer you are to the 30 years, the more the balance accelerates rapidly. That's a great manifestation of compounding. Again, the money that you earn making money on top of itself, and so on and so on. So let's compare two people. In this example, person A invests $5,000 per year from ages 25 to 35, while person B invests the same amount, $5,000 per year, from ages 35 to 65. When you add up the total amount invested or contributed into these accounts, person A will have invested $50,000 total, person B will have invested $150,000 total, but notice that based on the time horizon that they invested, the person who started earlier, 10 years earlier in this case, person A, gets to age 65 with a final balance of over $600,000. Person B, who invested 3 times the amount that person A did, gets to age 65 with $566,000. Still a very substantial amount, but with person A having started 10 years earlier, they still have a higher balance at age 65 than person B. Please note as well, this assumes an 8% annual return, just like the previous example. What this example demonstrates is how time is so powerful. In many cases, it's more powerful than actually contributing large dollar amounts. Starting early is more powerful than starting late with higher dollars. That's how compounding leads to this exponential growth. Now you may be saying to yourself, I need a car loan, I need a mortgage, I need student loans. I understand that, and there are situations that would warrant debt or loans, but I just want you all to know the math behind it and how the percentages are working against you when it comes to debts and loans and so on. And I want you to also see the upside of how compounding can work in your favor when you start early, get into good investments, and you reap the benefits of time so that you can thrive when it comes to compounding rather than having the effects of compounding hinder or slow your wealth building journey. Hopefully that little case study gives you some motivation to start as early as possible and as much as possible. Again, this is not to suggest that you should be contributing $500 a pay, $5,000 a year. No matter how much you're putting in, the effects of compounding are real, especially when you have time working more and more in your favor. That said, when it comes to the other side of compounding, working against you, this is the part that's a little less exciting to talk about. So let's pretend you have a credit card where you have a $10,000 balance and you're paying 18% on that. If you're paying minimums only, after 10 years, you will have paid over $21,000 on that $10,000 balance, and you may still owe money because in this example, that percentage that you owe is being added to the balance. And then if you don't pay, or even if you do pay just the minimums, the interest is still being added to your balance. So it's compounding against you. And again, over the course of 10 years, in this example, you may have paid more than double the actual balance. So to that end, debt compounds in the same way that investments do because interest is added to the balance. So the percentage that you're paying is on a bigger number, every month that you don't pay that balance down, or better yet, pay it off. Let's take a quick look at an example as to how compounding can work against you. For a car loan, let's say you borrow $20,000 at a rate of 7%. Over 5 years, you will have paid a total of $23,800, which, of course, as you can see, is about $3,800 in interest. Now, it probably doesn't feel like a substantial amount, especially if this is broken down in the form of monthly payments, but I do want you to know that when you take out a car loan and you pay it monthly over the course of, again, let's say 3-5 years, maybe more, you're paying so much more than you actually borrowed, which demonstrates how compounding is working against you. Again, I don't want to stand here and say that no debt is ever appropriate or necessary, but I do think it's important to understand the math behind it. So at the very least, you have a good sense of what you're signing up for and the long-term impacts of these decisions that might not feel as significant in the moment. As always, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully this video was helpful for you in your financial journey. Let me know in the comments if anything was unclear. I appreciate you all watching. As always, I will see you in the next video.